Going to begin this half hour with those explosive charges from a woman who was working at Seaworld when that trainer was drowned by a 17-foot orca. This all comes to light on the day that the OSHA report on the incident is due to be released, and we're going to hear from the whistleblower in just a moment here. But first, Yunji Denise with a look back at the theme park tragedy now 6 months ago.
A tourist home video captured Dawn Brancheau playfully feeding Tilikum the killer whale. But moments later, this show would take a horrifying turn when the 6-ton whale turned on his trainer.
Came back around to the glass, jumped up, and grabbed the trainer by the waist and started shaking her violently, and her shoe, last thing we saw was her shoe floating.
A police report describes multiple trainers attempting to corral Tilikum using nets, with Brancheau inside Tilikum's mouth. She did not survive. Immediately, questions arose over how this could happen to a 17-year veteran of Seaworld, seen here talking about the animals she loved.
We interact with them day in, day out. We're working together and having a lot of fun as well.
Investigators learned Tilly had a violent past, including drowning a trainer at a park in Canada. Seaworld says they did not allow trainers in the water with Tilly, but Brancheau was filmed in a pool lying next to the killer whale just moments before the attack. Thad Lasinik, who brought Tilly to Seaworld, told us the whale was likely intrigued by Brancheau's ponytail.
Dawn, if she was standing here with me right now, would tell you that that was her mistake in allowing that to happen.
After her death, Seaworld barred trainers from being in the water with all killer whales, including at this emotional tribute to Brancheau. Today, OSHA is set to reveal the results of its investigation, shedding new light on how a performance meant to showcase the wonders of whales could have gone so horribly wrong. For Good Morning America, Yunji Denise, ABC News.
Linda Simons was hired as Seaworld's Director of Health and Safety a week before that tragic incident. She says she was fired 2 months later because Seaworld didn't want her to speak to OSHA investigators. And now Simons is speaking out for the first time about her experience at that theme park. And she joins us with her attorney, Maurice Arcadier. Welcome to you both this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Linda, I know to this day you haven't been able to get the images out of your mind about what happened that day.
Correct.
Can you take us back to what you actually witnessed at the park?
I showed up at the pools where Tilikum had taken Dawn into, and it was very chaotic. A lot of people responded, probably about 85 people responded. But I saw very disturbing images that I felt the team members were being placed in danger. There were people in high heels on the rock walls. There were people jumping on the gates that separate the pools. I was concerned about that. And when they finally got Tilikum in the medical pool and lifted him up, team members were permitted to go into the pool to take Dawn out of Tilikum's mouth as he was still thrashing about.
So there were a number of red flags that you saw in just responding to the incident.
Just in responding, and I was only there a week when I saw all of that.
You mentioned you were there for a week. Do you believe that you had enough time to wrap your head around the rules, the safety regulations there?
In that week for animal procedures, I had not gotten into that. In the investigation on the 2 months that I was there, very in-depth into the procedures and what Seaworld allowed to happen.
But there was a drill, in fact, not long before the incident.
There was an exercise at the beginning of February, before I started. I requested the paperwork on that exercise, and it was a very less than a page long of timeline of when people responded. And I asked where the critique was. When you have an exercise, you want to know what went well, what went wrong, what needs to be corrected. And they said that was not completed because the drill went so badly that they were going to run another drill. People did not respond. Those that did not respond properly.
That's incredible. So there wasn't even a report because the results were so poor.
Correct.
There's been so much about this Tilly talk that happens at the theme park.
Correct.
People knew about this ahead of time. What's this all about?
The Tilly Talk is an orientation for anyone coming into the stadium to work with the whales, whether you've been at Seaworld and other positions or you're brand new to Seaworld. And what they do is they talk to you about going in the water with Tilly, that if you get into the water with Tilly, you will come out a corpse, letting them know how dangerous an animal he is.
So that's what they would say, that,
yes,
that you wouldn't come out alive. I want to tell the viewers this morning what Seaworld has said in a statement about you and your employment. Linda Simons worked for Seaworld for only a few weeks and was fired not for the reasons she cites, but rather for poor performance during the OSHA inspection. What's your response to that?
I never received any negative feedback, verbal or in writing. In fact, from the president, CEO of the corporation on down, I only received positive comments on my response to the OSHA investigation.
I know that PETA has reached out to you,
Yeah.
and that the organization has also written a letter to the governor of Florida. And Maurice, let me ask you, what is PETA hoping to get from the governor?
The same thing that we are, to get to the bottom, to get to the truth. Seaworld has manipulated the investigation, and we want an impartial agency to come in and investigate properly. Linda was prevented from presenting everything that was required by OSHA. We need to do a better investigation, a better job, and PETA and us have the same interest with that.
And Linda, are you hoping to actually see charges in this case?
I want to make sure that it is investigated and that the safety of the team members who remain is not jeopardized.
When you hear about Tilly talk and the fact that there was a history with this animal, do you fear that this could happen again?
I think that if they're put into that close proximity, it could easily happen again.
All right, Linda Simons and your attorney, Maurice Orcadier, thanks so much for being here this morning. Very brave of you to speak out here.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Time now for the weather and Sam.